Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and that is recipe for success in professional career. So we all have a career spanning about 30, 35 years, depending on when we start our career. And there was a time when our fathers, grandfathers, used to hear 25 years, 28 years, 30 years in one organization. And it was possible. And there was nothing wrong in it. But today that's not the scenario. Today you can't even think of doing something like that. People will ask you after 5 years, what is the problem? Not enough risk taking. So they will ask you after about 3, 4, 5 years. So 5 years is considered like a veteran. Now, in the earlier generation, 25 used to get long service awards. And now long service awards are like 10 and 5 years. Very soon, 2 years may also be like a long service award. So how is a career going to shape tomorrow is what we would all be interested in knowing. What is it that we should do? How we should plan our career is what we have got to look at. And that is what we are going to discuss. How do we succeed in our professional career? How do we plan it? How do we leverage our strengths? And most important, the soft skills part, what do we do to ensure that we constantly upgrade our skills? The speaker of the day is a fantastic speaker. Vast experience, a professor who was working, has an industry experience, has seen there, done that, and now is helping organizations, educational institutions develop. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. Manu Vora. Talking about Dr. Vora's achievements, he is the chairman and president, Business Excellence at the United States of America, an adjunct faculty, School of Professional Studies, Northwestern University in the United States. He has been a visiting faculty to a number of institutes. Some of them, or the prominent amongst them, is the IIT Banaras Hindu University at Varanasi, a visiting faculty at the Great Lakes Institute of Management in Chennai, and a number of other institutes. He has a BTech honors from IIT BHU in chemical engineering. He did his MS and PhD post his BTech in chemical engineering from Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago. He went on to do his MBA in marketing management from Keller Graduate School of Management in Chicago. And he has been giving number of talks on what is it like to succeed in careers. He's been helping students and professionals alike. He has received more than 52 awards for outstanding professional service and 35 awards for his lifelong community service, including the US President's Volunteer Service Award. He's also received the J.N. Tata Scholarship in 1968 to pursue his studies. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome, on behalf of AMA, Dr. Manu K. Vora with a bouquet. So Dr. Vora, I would request him now to share his insights on what is the recipe for professional career. Please bear with him. He's asking everyone's permission to sit and deliver his talk as he's just injured his knee. So I hope you are all okay with it and you would excuse him for that. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish, for a very kind introduction. Good evening to all of you. I come from Amreli in Gujarat, so I am one of you. And I went to USA in 1968, as Manish mentioned. So mission in life is I've received so much from so many different directions. I want to give it back before I go, because I just completed 73, running 74, Unfortunately, this morning I took a fall at the Gandhi Ashram where we were visiting the girls' school, but things will be fine. So I'm very delighted to be here with all of you. So let's see by show of hand how many of you are in the service side of the business, professional service, lawyer, service, right? What about manufacturing? Few. Government? Nice. Anybody in NGO, non-profit sector? Very good. Yes, and I'm part of that too. So here is the roadmap, and as during the introduction Manish mentioned, there are 3 pillars of success. The first one is importance of planning. If we can do better planning, the outcome will be better. And I can say with my experience both teaching here as well as in US, planning needs more improvement in India. We'll leave it at that. You can fill in the dots. Second one, understand our own strengths. A lot of time we don't know what we are good at. So we keep searching for it until we retire. Then we realize we are good at this, now it's too late. So it will help you to find out what you are good at and keep doing more of it, and make sure if you are not good at certain things, stop doing it, because that is not helping you. And the third very important thing is the soft skills. And my experience personally as an engineer, when I graduated, I did not have much of soft skills. I was afraid to speak to 3 to 5 people. Now as a faculty, you have to pay me to stop talking, right? So it's all because of the experience. You get out of your comfort zone and start talking, sharing good things, and when you have some value to add, people are going to listen to you. So do not give the fluff, provide the quality, not the quantity. So that's the talk, and then towards the end of the talk, there are 2 beautiful YouTubes, highly motivating, so we'll enjoy that. Background is already covered, so I'll skip that. Now I'm going to start with the very first item, focus on planning. Now how many of you have heard about Dr. Deming? Raise your hand. Dr. Deming, the stalwart of quality. The gentleman was sent by US government to go to Japan after World War II to rebuild the industrial economy. As we know, Japan had lost everything, so they listened to these 2 experts, Dr. Deming, Dr. Juran. They understood how to do process improvement, quality management, and as we remember in the early times, products coming from Japan was more like a joke. Now they have the finest electronics and automobiles in the world, envy to the world, right? Because they understood the concepts and deployed it over the years. So there are 4 components of Dr. Deming's cycle. Okay, so plan, do, study, and act. 10% excellent planning with 90% flawless execution will give you great results. And remember, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, given. So that was the first item. Second one, theory of strengths. Now this is the work done by Gallup organization. Gallup is a marketing company very active during political season in the US. So they have studied people, successful people around the world, and based on that they have created a database of some 34 major strengths, and they wrote a book called Strengths Finder 2.0. Now they define the strength as the ability to consistently provide near perfect performance. So if we are playing in our strength zone, our output will be the best. We don't need any supervision. We are self-starter and achieve the great results. So I'll give you a couple of examples. One, there was a ping pong player. The coach found out that he was very good with the forehand stroke. So he gave him only practice with the forehand stroke, forget about the backhand stroke, and he won the world championship because he was using his strengths to achieve the best results. Secondly, how many of you have youngsters who bring the report card? Anybody? Youngsters bringing the report card? 5 subjects, 3 A's, 1 B and 1 C. You're sitting down as a parents with the youngsters. Where are we spending time on? C's, right? Focus is on C. This theory of strength, focus should be on A. 3 subjects, child has shown preference, so he or she is very good at it. Make sure that A remains A. Now the C will hardly get ever A, so you provide additional resource, so C may become B. But do not sort of put the child at tension by focusing only on the weaknesses, but build up the strength. So that's the message. Now they define the strength as a multiplier of talent times the investment. Now what is talent? Talent is something which comes naturally to us. We are certainly hardwired with certain things, and it automatically comes to us without any effort. So in the 3 bubbles at the top, thinking, feeling and behaving, that is talent. And investment is building up the skills, getting more knowledge and getting more experience. Now there is a good news. You can find out your own top 5 strengths if you buy the book Strengths Finder 2.0. Now one disclaimer, I do not own any stock in Gallup organization. So if you buy the book, I will not get rich. If you don't buy the book, I'm not going to be poor. So this is, I've taken 3 books, 1 for myself and 2 for my sons. And you have to buy this book new, because at the back of the book, there's a code in an envelope. You open it, take the test in 30 minutes, it'll give you your top 5 strengths out of the database of 34 strengths. It's equivalent of around $18 US. So it's not a lot of money. It's an investment in your life for the rest of the life. So here are my top 5 strengths. So the first one is I'm an arranger, more like a conductor of an orchestra. So I could see all the variables and I like arranging them to get the best symphony out of it. Secondly, I am an achiever. I have a drive, inner drive, it keeps me moving. Third, I am a learner. I want to go from ignorance to competence. Fourth, I am a maximizer. I look for excellence first from myself and then from others around me, including my family member. So very simple example, my son, older son, is currently 40, works for Google. When he was in high school, I was working with him very closely. When he gave his speech as a number 2 in the graduating class of 300, he said, my father was very hard on me, but now I realize that has helped me to excel in what I do. He went to Stanford to get a degree in computer science. So if we go easy on our children and others and don't provide resources, they are not going to achieve the full potential. So you want to really help them, but be with them all the time. And the last one is, my strength is relator. Once I come in contact with people, I begin to build the relationship. They wrote another book, Gallup Company, Soar with Your Strengths. In a humorous sentence, you don't teach a pig to sing, it annoys the pig and it wastes your time. What do we do in reality? We beat up people on negatives all the time and do not acknowledge their strengths, do not acknowledge good things they are bringing on the table. So that is the idea of theory of strengths. Very important concept. Sooner we realize what our strengths are, we start leveraging it in everything we do, whether it's for-profit, non-profit, at home front, in social setting. And fortunately, I've been using some of these concepts without understanding in a formal way, because I'm not good at everything. I'm good at certain things and I do more of it and keep doing it. So I learn from it and develop my own strengths. Now this is a very important slide from the World Economic Forum. It's a little bit small size, so I will read top 10 skills needed in 2020. complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. Now tell me, when you are studying this at university in your own area, whether engineering, business, arts, science, commerce, how many of these topics were covered? Anybody? Most of these topics are not covered. So what happens is, when we get the education, come out with a degree, we think everything is done. No, that's a starting point. One has to be a lifelong student. Currently at this stage, I'm a lifelong student. I keep learning in my area of discipline, the business, Harvard Business Review, MIT Sloan Management Review, McKinsey Quarterly, Forbes, Inc. magazine, etc. I keep reading a lot of good things and incorporate them in the teachings I do, consulting I do, etc. So the key is, do not stop learning. Degree is just the starting point. We are all lifelong students, and more we learn, more we are cutting edge, we can give it to others. So remember, these are the critical areas, and what happens is, when the students graduate with a degree, they do not have the right skills, so industry has to retrain them. So there is a waste of energy, resources, and later on I'll make a comment where AICTE need to do something better to incorporate soft skills in the curriculum, so that when they graduate, students are fully equipped to tackle the real world situation and be successful in the 21st century. Now we are going to focus on the third pillar, the soft skills. And I begin with the communication, and let's focus on the second half of the slide. They say no matter what job you have in life, your success 5% based on education, 15% based on your work experience, but lopsided 80% is due to communication and soft skills. Unfortunately, we neglect that, right? We are going after 5% and 15%, 80% is overlooked. India, we have brilliant students, right? When you go to IITs, IIMs, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, top of the top go there. Unfortunately, they do not focus on soft skills. And I did the same thing. I had the same problem. I learned it from multinational AT&T and other companies. So in communication, we need to focus on verbal, written, and presentation. And everywhere, the clarity is very important. Write in a simple way, communicate your ideas across. So I'll give you one example. There was a company where a young person joined, and he was very good both in soft skills and he had good knowledge of the technical side. Rest of the population was all technical, there for many years. Now this person started getting promotion. So people went to the manager, why are you doing a favor to this young person who has not much experience, and why is getting promoted? He said, look, I can hire all of you technical people dime a dozen, but to find a combination where you are very good with soft skills and the people and good knowledge of technical thing, that's the best combination, and that's why he is getting promoted. So always remember, if we have a lot of ideas, and all of you have a lot of ideas, but if we cannot put it across the table, those ideas remain ideas, right? We need to clearly communicate in a crystallized way so that people get it, and if you have a good idea to share, they will take action, and that is the critical aspect. Now here is a simple tool called tree diagram. Has anybody used the tree diagram as a model? Those who have studied quality, this is one of the simple tools propagated by Japanese quality management tool. And this decision-making tree diagram allows you to start from a higher level decision all the way to the final outcome. So we have 3 levels of decision. First level is you want to go on vacation. How many of you are ready to go on vacation? Okay, good. Then you have decision level 2, where you have choice to go to Europe, visit the family, or go for a camping in state. And for each of the decision level 2, you have a decision level 3 leading to specific outcomes. So when you are mapping out your journey in life, what branch you want to select? Engineering, business, art, science, commerce, pharmacy, medicine. Out of that, what are the subspecialty you will be getting into, whether accounting, finance, strategy, etc. And then ultimately, where do you want to work? In the industry, government, NGOs, research labs, etc. So this is the one-page diagram allows you to go from the higher level decision to the final outcome. Now I'm going to focus on 3 critical areas to succeed in the 21st century. They say in the 20th century, to be successful, we needed 3 things. What were the 3 things? Reading, writing, and mathematics. In the 21st century, those things we must have, otherwise we are nowhere. Reading, writing, and mathematics, that's basic. But in the 21st century, we need to focus on 3 new skills. One of them is interpersonal skills or the teamwork. Second one, problem solving. And third, project management. So teamwork, problem solving, and project management. If we can master these 3 skills, it will serve us well to do well in whichever domain you are in, and you will be doing justice to yourself as well as to the organization. So the very first one is effective teamwork. Here this gentleman, Patrick Lencioni, has written a book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Has anybody seen this work? If you have seen it, raise your hand. A lot of corporates use this to train their teams to make sure there are none of the dysfunctions present. So there are 5 dysfunctions according to Patrick Lencioni. First one is the team cannot be functional unless they trust each other. Now, how do you trust each other? You have to share your strengths and weaknesses. You need to be vulnerable and open. Because once you share your strengths, when the assignments are to be made, team leader will try to make sure that the assignment you are getting is in line with your strengths. So there is alignment there. Second one, fear of conflict. I'm sure you may have noticed most of the time when the team meets, 1 or 2 people keep talking, loud mouth, others are keeping quiet. So decisions are made on a limited information, and once the decisions are made, you are working on a limited input. Those who did not speak up will go outside and call a parking lot meeting, we call it. That this was person A or B's idea, let them do what they want. We are not with them. And this is totally dysfunctional team. So instead of creating artificial harmony, we need a constructive conflict during the meeting. Important issue is getting discussed. Everybody should provide input and look at it as a funnel. Everything comes in the mouth of the funnel, out of which you distill and work on 1 or 2 critical areas where everybody is together and everybody's input is counted, then the entire team falls behind it. That's item 2. Third, lack of commitment. When I as a team leader assign duty to Aditya that you need to do this piece of work, if I'm not clear, you will be confused and you are not sure what to do. So time is wasted. So clarity in terms of the assignment, no ambiguity, crystal clear assignment will help achieve the team the maximum. Fourth, avoidance of accountability. Take a case, 7-member team, 1 or 2 members are slacking off. They want to take it easy. What happens? Team's output is in trouble. So you need to hold those 1 or 2 people accountable to deliver their input on a timely basis so that the entire team can provide the most optimal solution. And the last one, sometimes people who are on the team, they forget why they are on the team. They get carried away with their status and ego, and they forget why the team was chartered and what needs to be achieved. So put the status and ego aside, align the organization goal as the primary and align your goals with the organization goal. Beautiful work, effective teamwork. When the team is formed, it's the team leader's role to ensure that none of these dysfunctions are present, and if they are, you need to remove them. Then your team is ready to go on all 4 cylinders or all 6 cylinders, firing away. Teamwork. What is team? Many hands, one mind, right? Picture says 1,000 words. Team is many hands, one mind. Now the next item is the time management. How many of you think you are good at managing time? Raise your hand. Okay, we have a few good volunteers here. Wonderful. Now, for rest of us, we need to manage the time better because the demand is more and more, right? You have to do more in less time. Less number of people have to accomplish more in any domain, any organization. So here is called the EISENHOWER box. So y-axis important or not important, x-axis urgent or not urgent. So the guidance is you need to focus on important but not urgent. The top right quadrant, that's where you should be focusing about 90% of your time. 90% on important but not urgent thing. About 5 to 10% on urgent and important, more like firefighting, get it out of the way. Now you know the story about firefighting. There are some clever people in the organization. They will start the fire, come out with a fire hose and put the fire away. Top management has no idea, so they will reward those firefighters saying, oh, they did a great job, but they don't know they were the one who started the fires in the first place. So the prevention and planning are the most important thing, and that is important and not urgent quadrant. Other items, not important, urgent, delegate it, and not important, not urgent, don't worry about it. Throw it in the waste basket. Now, this was a very nice definition of time, so let me read it. Time is slow when you wait. Time is fast when you are late. Time is deadly when you are sad. Time is short when you are happy. Time is endless when you are in pain. That's what I had in the morning. Time is long when you feel bored. Every time is determined by your feelings and your psychological conditions and not by clocks. So have a nice time always. So remember, it's our psychological conditions driving it. Time flies. If you don't use the time properly, we are wasting it. Next item, and the 3 critical area was the problem solving. Now, how many of you are engineers here in the audience? So what do? We learn how to solve real world problems, right? But sometimes we as an engineer, we start with a solution first and keep hunting for what problem are we solving. Will you agree with me? Sometimes we do that, and that is not good. So what's the best way to do problem solving? Clearly define the problem. Take time to identify what is the real problem. Once we have that, journey starts. Use the data to determine the magnitude of the problem. Find out why the problem is coming. Determine the root causes. Eliminate those root causes by finding a possible solution. If the root causes are going down, problems is getting diminished, make that solution permanent, and then you are ready to tackle the next most important problem. Simple guideline, problem solving. Just do this for fun. Now comes the project management. Now anybody PMI, PMP, project management professional, several of you. I am not a PMP, but I teach project management at Northwestern University for the last 10 years. And throughout my life, I worked on many projects, both at the professional level and personal levels, including non-profits. So they say, data shows world over, only 30% of the projects are successful, 70% fail. This is the statistics, very scary. And in government sector, the numbers are not as good either. So I was teaching in Egypt, government officers on OD, organization development, and change management. So I asked them, they said 20%. 1 out of 5 projects are successful, rest are failure. It's a tremendous loss to the society. And one thing, I've been teaching project management here 2 years back. Government of India, MHRD had a project, Gyan project, where they invited 600 faculties from around the world to come and share new knowledge. I was one of the 6 at my campus at IIT BHU, project management for organization excellence. This is one discipline we must instill in our youth, how to do the project management. What is project management, how to bring the project within budget, within schedule, and achieve the performance you are set out to do. Very, very critical skill. Unfortunately, we do not have that focus. So here is a great article from MIT Sloan Management Review. The project leader must overcome 5 crises of silence. First, plan the project around the facts. Secondly, the project sponsor must provide support throughout the life cycle of the project. Third, be faithful to the project management process. Fourth, honestly assess progress and the risk on your project. And risk management is very important because project is a one of a kind. First time you are doing it, something unknown, that means risk is inherent part of the project. And if you can't manage the risk, project is likely to fail. And the last one, all team members must provide full support to achieve the objective of the project. So these are the 5 areas if you focus on. Instead of 30% success, you can go to 50, 70, up to 100% success. Now comes the change management. Now this is the topic Manish touched upon early on. When we select a discipline at the beginning of our life and career, that is not going to be the end. 30, 40 years ago, it was cradle to grave type of job, right? You start at one company, retire from the same company. Research shows nowadays people will change 7 jobs in their lifetime, 7 different organizations. And when I was with AT&T Bell Labs for 17 years, every 10 months there will be a new assignment, new supervisor. So I came into that average. More than 7 times I've changed my jobs. Now, so the idea is you begin the journey, but the circumstances change, new opportunities arise. So if you are ready, be prepared, you can capitalize on that and be at the front end of the change rather than get carried away. So in my case, I started out as a chemical engineer because I was good at chemistry and mathematics. So I chose chemical engineering. Then I continued in that area, gave it up and moved to telecommunication when the job was drying up in chemical industry. So that was a transition. From there, after a while, I started teaching as an adjunct faculty, so academics. Along the way, realized that India needs a lot of help, so started NGO 30 years ago, Blind Foundation for India, where we have raised $4 million to support million blind people in India through free cataracts, having braille kits for children, and providing free eyesight checkup to adults and children. After that, I continued to do more work in different disciplines, business side, continue to share that knowledge. And so my journey is a constant change. And one thing we all need to remember, that the life is definitely going to have many, many changes coming across us. If we are ready, if we are prepared, we can take advantage. If we resist it, then we get run over by it. So be always flexible and try to take advantage of the situation and be prepared. Now I want to share with you the Leadership Excellence Series project we started 5 years ago. Teaching here in the India as well as in the US, I realized with the brilliant student here, we do not have focus on soft skills. So we put together a 12 topic, Leadership Excellence Series. And this is a free Gyandan happening for last 5 years. So we experimented this at IIT BHU, my campus, and 1 hour, 10 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes presentation, 15 to 20 minutes Q&A using Google Hangouts. How many of you have used Google Hangouts? It's a free service, now they are phasing it out. So for those of you who are interested, there is a zoom.us free Google video service. 1-to-1 is free, crystal clear, and I've been using that lately. If you have multiple points, then you have to pay a subscription. So 5 topics in soft skill: leadership, teamwork, time management, meeting management, decision making. 7 topics in quality area: project management, risk management, talent management, voice of customer management, operational excellence, supply chain management, and sustainable change management. Incidentally, using the Google Hangout, we have recorded these videos on a YouTube and we have made it public, and that is listed at the American Society for Quality India website. And also I had a chance to be in Gandhinagar next door with Swamiji, and Swami Nikleshwarananda. He was in Vadodara, now he's posted in Rajkot. He took me there. Commissioner of Higher Education, Mr. A.J. Shah, gave me 40 minutes to talk about effective time management. 450 colleges throughout Gujarat were connected via satellite. 5 lakh students benefited from that live presentation, and it's professionally recorded on the YouTube. Now, if you remember, Modi ji has given a clarion call to skill up youngsters in India. Only we can do this massive training is through use of technology. So we need to leverage the technology to the best of our ability. I wanted to bring in additional idea, as I had done some work in Egypt working with government officers. There is a new university coming up in Alexandria in Egypt. So they asked me as an international advisor to come up with some ideas about soft skills curriculum, because Egypt and India, we have similar problem, very high unemployment and a lot of underemployment. So to address that issue for College of Engineering, Business, Pharmacy and Medicine, I developed 7 topics: the leadership, communication, research method, quality method, community service, entrepreneurship and soft skills. Now the idea of this curriculum is, along with the core topics, core curriculum, they have to study these 7 areas. We create a report card for these 7 topics. Every year they study theory and they do a project in the team. It gets graded, and at the end of 4 years they have a report card which they can take it to the prospective employer and show it to them that we have done some work in this area. This is very similar to if you are a graphic student or in the arts, you create your own portfolio of work. So when you go there, you are different than the rest of the people who are coming for the interview, right? And this is how you start the journey in the soft skill. Mandatory requirement to have 80% passing overall in 4 years. And last one, bottom line, when you master your soft skills, you have mastered your destiny. So always remember that. That is going to carry the day. So now I'm going to bring it together before the YouTube start. What do we see here in the middle? Nike, just do it, right? Don't keep talking about it. And I'll have to share one example. And don't quit, just do it. That was the first item. Patience, persistence and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. There's a good time management tips. Don't be a clock watcher, just do what the clock does. Keep moving. And in the center, growth and greed aren't enough. You need compassion too. So as we progress our journey in life, we need to have a compassion for others who are less fortunate than us. God has given so much to us. I think we should extend ourselves to help others. And that's the way the world is built. We have to keep passing the baton. and simple concept, expect nothing and appreciate everything. Then you will be the happy person in life. And the bottom line is chase excellence, then success will follow you. Don't follow the success, chase the excellence, success will run after you. Now we have two beautiful YouTubes, so Manish will help me.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure, things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you.
So what did we learn from this? So the grit, G-R-I-T, is passion, something you're passionate about, and the perseverance to achieve goal in the long term, not short term. And that's what this is, the topic of grit is all about. And that allows you to predict who will be successful and who is not going to be successful. As long as you have a passion to achieve something, and secondly, you have a long-term focus, you are going to be successful in whatever domain you are in. Thank you. Now the next video. Now this is the highly motivational talk by famous football coach from University of Notre Dame, Lou Holtz. So let's enjoy that.
I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia. And I went by where I was born last night, about 10:30. I was born in a cellar at home, delivered by Dr. McGraw. We had one bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. We had a half bath and a kitchen. 7.5 years we lived in that place. There was no welfare. There was no food stamps. There was no safety net. But I always had plenty to eat. Because every time I asked for seconds, my dad would say, no, you had plenty. But the reason I was born with a silver spoon, my dad had only gone to the 3rd grade. That's all the education he had. But why was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? Because I was taught by my parents that life's a matter of making choices, wherever you are, good or bad, because of choices you make. Don't blame anybody else, but if you get an education, you're willing to work and overcome problems and difficulties, in this great country, you can amount to something. That's why I was born with a silver spoon. I was in this country and I was taught personal responsibility for choices you make. And when we talk about a commitment to excellence, that's a choice you make. What do you want to do? Having hopes and dreams and ambition. See, I think that is absolutely critical. Don't make the mistake I made. I've done a lot of dumb things, but let me tell you the one thing I regret. We went to the University of Notre Dame. We took a program on the bottom. We took it to the very top. And for 9 straight years, we went to a January 1 bowl, the sugar, the cotton, the orange, and the fiesta. Nobody's done it before. Nobody's done it since. We put it on top and we maintained it. That's the thing I regret the most. See, there's a rule in life that said you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's either growing or it's dying. So's grass, so's a marriage, so's a business, so's a person. Doesn't have a thing to do with age. My birthday candles cost more than a cake. But it has everything to do, am I trying to get better? Am I trying to improve? We got on top and say, you know, this is pretty good, let's maintain it. Let's not take any risk. We finished 2nd in the country at Notre Dame. Everybody called me an idiot. Guy finishes last in medical school, they call him doctor. That doesn't seem fair. When I left Notre Dame, I never thought I'd coach again. Where'd you go from Notre Dame? According to my mother, you go directly to heaven, you sit by the Pope. You don't coach anymore. And then I went to live in a town where the average age was deceased. And what I found out, I wasn't tired of coaching. You have to have something to hope for, something to dream. And even though you've done great things so far, what's going to happen now? I want to give you a simple plan. Life doesn't have to be complicated. I try to keep life simple. Do you realize there are only 7 colors of the rainbow? Only 7. Look what Michelangelo did with those 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with those 7 notes. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with those 10 numbers. The point I make is it doesn't have to be complicated. See, you need 4 things in your life. If you don't have any of these 4 things in your life, you're going to have a tremendous void. See, everybody needs something to do. Number 2, everybody needs someone to love. Number 3, everybody needs someone to believe in. In my case, is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But the 4th thing you need in your life is you need something to hope for. There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. And there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Just do what's right. I think it's right to be honest, right to be on time. See, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy life. Have fun. You're going to have problems. You're going to have difficulties. That's part of life. And don't tell people about your problems. Do you know that 90% of the people don't care? And the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off to keep it yourself. You're going to have problems. But have fun with what you're doing. People say, did you have fun doing the ESPN? Not really. Because if you have fun being there, people have fun being around. Doesn't mean I don't do dumb things. And sometimes I wasn't real honest. Do everything to the best of your ability with time allotted. You know, ladies and gentlemen, not all of us be All-American. Not everybody can be first team. Everybody can be the best you're capable of being. And I want to tell you, if you want to fail, you have the right to fail. That's what's great about this country. You do not have the right to cause other people to fail because you don't do everything best your ability. When you join a spouse, you bring a child in the world, you join a business, you join a team. You have obligation, responsibilities, and you owe it to other people to do the maximum you can at each and everything you do. It's not complicated. And the last rule, to show people you care. And you walk in the room, your attitude, hey, here I am, look at me. It's like, no. Your attitude, there you are, how can I help you? I wish I knew those 3 rules when I was 21. I've used them for the last 40 years. There's a statue of me at Notre Dame. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land, but if you go look at it, just don't look at 3 words on the pedestal. Trust, commitment, love.
Okay, so now we are ready for question and answers.
So, thank you very much. I would also like to inform that Dr. Vora has received the NRI of the Year award in 2018 in philanthropy. Okay, so a big round of applause for that.
Thank you.
And I hope the session was quite insightful. You know? So 3 things: planning, strengths, and soft skills. Use the Strength Finder. It's not $17 in India. It would cost somewhere around 500 rupees. So you can buy it, and it's a wonderful tool which I used in my organization. 20th century, the 3 skills were reading, writing, and it's called as arithmetic, which is arithmetic. 21st century, that's 20th century is still going to be the base, but we are going to add on interpersonal skills, problem solving, and project management. Team is many hands in one mind, so teamwork is going to be important. And use the time management matrix or the Eisenhower box, where you have to decide, or you're going to think of what are the tasks which you're going to do, what are the tasks which you're going to decide, what are the tasks which you're going to delegate, and what tasks you're going to delete. Last but not the least, chase excellence and success will follow you. Thank you, Dr. Vora. Thank you for the wonderful insights.
My pleasure.
On behalf of AMA, I would like to thank him by presenting a memento.
And thank you, Manish, for the kind invitation. And I want to thank KK Nayarji for allowing me to be here among the distinguished audience. And I wish all of you a lot of success, because success comes from within, right? Nobody else can define your success. You determine what is good for you, you do your best, and take care of others. Good things will happen. So I wish all of you a lot of good luck, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Manish.